next, Martha.
Yeah, my name is Martha Ambarangu. I am an ordained pastor in the Lutheran Church in Tanzania, and I am also a PhD student at Lutheran School of Theology. I'm focusing on biblical studies, and I am considering myself a womanist to be. If we minister here and they're accepting me, I am there. And I have two beautiful girls and a husband. And so instead of my story, I would like to share a story about Alice. So Alice, how I met Alice. Alice was a girl in Tanzania. She's a girl in Tanzania. She came from the Lake Victoria zone regions, and her parents had a connection to a person in the city where I live for her to come work. So they sent her from home with nobody, just her clothes and phone numbers to call when she gets there, and she does not have a phone. And so when she gets there, she has to borrow a phone from somebody, hoping that somebody will just give her a phone and call the person who is going to hire her, and then go to the person's house to work. So they probably don't even know the person, but they're just sending their child to go work. And so Alice got there, looked for a person to borrow her phone, and then she could not find them on the phone. The people were not reachable, and so she had nowhere to go. For 2 days, she was sleeping outside. And the next day, the day that I met her, she went to the church where I work. It was late evening, almost dark, and she met our security guard, and she asked to sleep in the church. And the security guard was like, "You can go to a better place, I can take you there." And the security guard brought her to my home, and he said, "Oh, can you just let her sleep in your home?" And I was very pregnant at the time, moody, and I was like, "Who are you?" She's like, "I'm Alice." And how did you get here? She said, "I slept outside for 2 days because I can't find my employer, and now I have nowhere to go." And I said, "What do you need?" She said, "I want to sleep in your house." I said, "Okay, you can sleep in my house." And then next, she's like, "I don't know." Like, okay. So what do you want me to do for you? She says, "You can employ me." And at the time, it was COVID time. I had two sisters-in-law in the house. I had my sister in the house, and I have a little girl, Michelle. And I was like, where can I put her? But anyway, just come in. And I was like, "I'm not going to employ you because you look very young." And I asked her, how old are you? "I am 18. And I look at her and I say, "I'm looking at you. How old are you?" "I am 18. Do you have any identification?" "No." "Do you have any papers?" "No. It's just me and my bag, and I am 18. And she kept saying, for every question, "I am 18. So I realized that she has told to say that she is 18. Yeah. So the next day, I called my sister, my friend Pamela. She's a social worker, and I told her, "Can you come and look at this person? She's not 18. And she came, and she looked at her, and she's like, "Yeah, she's not 18. And then she asked to talk to her family members, and we gave her a phone to talk to her family members. And they told me, "Can you send her home?" And I said, "Okay, I will send her home." And I realized she told them she thinks they're gonna report her to the police. And so I was actually going to report. So it was true that I was going to report them. And so I sent her back home. And 1 year later, I got a call from her grandmother. And she says, those few days in your home, Alice had the best life. Can you take her back again? And I took Alice back home. She came, we picked her up, she came to my house. And so she stayed with us for like 3 months. And one day I came back from work and she was there sitting, copying the small catechism from our hymnal book to another book, and her handwriting was perfect. I'm very bad at this.
You're pretty good.
I hope I finish. Okay. So I asked her, do you want to go back to school? And she said, yes. For the first time. Every time I asked her, she said no. But this time she said yes. And I told her, Alice, do you want to do something that's related to what you're writing? And she said yes. So I called my friend. She's the principal of our Bible college. And she's my best friend, so I asked her, can you take her to a Bible college? Because I think she can do something. And that's when she started telling us about her educational background. She was actually qualified to go to school. And so they took her in, and she studied there for 2 years. And the reason why I talk about Alice is because there's so many girls like Alice.
Yeah.
Later, as I was living with Alice, I realized that her grandma wanted her to be somewhere else because she comes from a place where a girl can be raped in public. And it's just so, male children are a pride of the family, girls are a property of the family. So as long as a person pays, some adults in the family, they're allowed to rape her anytime they want. And her grandma was like, you can be better somewhere, just go somewhere else and live. I don't care where, but don't stay here. And that's why she never cared about where Alice was. And there are lots of these girls who would run from their towns, from their villages, and come to the cities hoping that they'll have a better life there. But then when they get to the towns, they get employed in the house. And then when they get employed in the house, they're just slaves. And these days, there are people who collect these girls. Remember, they don't have any identification, and they're just told, this is what you should say. Some are just 12, some are just 14, and they're just gathered in a place, and they're transported to countries in trucks sometimes. For days, some dies in the trucks, and they get there dead. Some get there, and they're just sex slaves. Some just work in the family. It's fortunate if you get a good family that actually cares about you. But if you get to a house that don't care about you, they can do anything to you. So they're taken to China, they're taken to Arabic countries, and they live there, they die there. I've seen plenty of videos where these girls are tortured to death. Like, they're tortured, and a person has the audacity to actually record the whole act and post it everywhere, send it to the family, send it anywhere. I saw this video that I will never forget, that this person was actually barbecued was terrible. I've never forgot. You should never see that video in your life. It's just terrible. And I had this privilege to go to Muscat, Oman, where we get so many videos from that country coming to for the girls who are coming from our country. And I went to this center, they call it the Alamana Center, and they invited us for the interfaith activities. And I asked them, is there anything you can do? And that's when I discovered that there are countries where, when these girls go, whatever happens to them, they cannot report to the police. They have to report to the ambassador, and then the ambassador reports to the police. And sometimes it depends on where you're coming from. If your country is not as powerful, nobody's gonna care about that. But if your country has some status, then they're gonna care about you. So the rights of the people are not the rights of the foreigners. And they just end up dying there. And that's me and Alice's story.
That's where you don't fit me in Dubai, okay? You don't fit me in Dubai.
Thank you all.